Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. If I get screwed in a custody battle and the court gives me every other weekend or very little visitation, this is what I'm arguing in a motion for reconsideration. I'm telling the court, this court has the same type of prejudice and bigotry toward me, acting like I'm a second-class parent, just like our court system and our justice system had against people of color for decades in this country. It's undisputed that this country was racist and said black people can have separate schools for their children, separate dirty water fountains. You know, they can live in slums or the impoverished areas of the country and have their own thing, but as long as they say separate, it's equal. So our Supreme Court in Plessy versus Ferguson, I think in the late 1800s, 1890s, said that black people can be on a separate caboose on a train. So the phrase separate but equal is equal was the doctrine or the common law of America based on Plessy versus Ferguson. That case lasted for 60 to 70 years until Brown versus Board of Education said separate but equal is not equal. I'm telling this all to the court, okay? And you guys don't listen to what I say, don't do what I say, and you get the same results that everybody got because you let your punk ass attorney not fight and you sit there and watch them. You don't know what the hearing is coming up. You don't know that you have trial. You don't get ready for trial. You ask your attorney to do depositions. They don't do it, and you sit there and stick with the losers. So keep getting the results you're getting by not listening to me then. But I'm going to say, this court said that it's equal for black children to go to schools with no books, no air conditioning in the hot, sweltering spring, and no heat during the winter, in dilapidated buildings with not the same amount of education as white people, and that's equal. It's impossible that the separate conditions for black kids and white kids in separate schools was equal. We all know that, but we were blind and we were deceived for 60 years in this country before Brown versus Board of Education, and the semblance of Jim Crow laws and things like that still remained. How could a court possibly say that separate conditions that are worse than others are equal? The answer is the court had a prejudice, and they had a skewed version of reality, thinking black people were inferior to white people, so they didn't care about the conditions that they had. This court has the same delusional, skewed version of reality, thinking I as a father am not as important as a mother, so you will think 4 days a month, the separate time that I have with the child, is equal to the mother's 26 days a month. And while our boy is being if you have a boy, our boy is being deprived of a father in his life, and nobody can teach a boy to be a man like a father can, and you're depriving the child of a basic life need. All the science says it, yet you will still say, I can only be a weekend visitor. I can have a disproportional amount of time with the child, and that quality of time of 4 days is equal to 26 days. What couples who are in love spend only 4 days a month together? What married couples, what people even dating only date 4 days a month? How can you build any kind of relationship like that? Even people you go to school with or work with that you don't have an intimate relationship with, for you to be able to work together or to learn something or cooperate, or on a basketball team, you practice more than 4 days a month. At school, you go more than 4 days a month. If you're working as a unit, if you're a project manager and you have a team working on a project, you meet more than 4 times a month. You don't just show up at work 4 times a month. This math is impossible. This court is so bigoted, so prejudiced, has such a skewed, condescending, scornful outlook on the role of father. It's so bigoted and so disdainingly hateful of the father-child relationship that this court thinks that 4 to 26 is an equal ratio. The child needs the mother 7 times more than the child needs a father. White schools get 7 times or 700 times the funding that black schools do, and that's separate but equal is equal. That's impossible. We lied to ourselves because we wanted to justify our bigotry and our racism. Now we're justifying our sexism to the detriment of a child. Most of that bigotry and prejudice, the separate but equal, was dealing with adults and their businesses and being able to go to a white restaurant or a white bathroom. Now you're directly dealing with a child every time you make a bigoted ruling like this. This court is bigoted, and its blind, skewed eyes blind the court from seeing equity and seeing justice and seeing fairness for the child first and foremost. This is a court of equity. The courts are supposed to be courts of fairness and equity, or they're supposed to be fair and equitable. It's not possible that it's fair and equitable. If this courthouse had 10 openings for judges, or let's say if this courthouse had 10 openings for clerks and staff, and 100 women and 100 men applied for it, and 9 men got the job and 1 woman got the 10th job, everybody would be screaming discrimination. Yet this court does the same ratio for visitation and deprives the child of a basic life need as a father. This court, nobody who knows 3rd grade level math would conclude that this is fair and equitable. No reasonable person in the world would do this. The only people who do this are bigots and prejudicial, misandrous sexists who hate children and hate the basic life need of a child. Now, I can hear it in your ears right now. You're a punk-ass little bitch, cowardly bitch who doesn't want to fight for anything in life. You're like, oh my God, I can't say that to the judge. Then shut your pie hole and tuck your tail and go run like the rest of the punk-ass little bitch-made fruity gay boy fathers out there who aren't standing up for their kids. Don't listen to me. I got full custody of my daughter when she was 7 months old. Don't listen to me. I won in the Court of Appeals twice against an attorney with 40 years experience. Don't listen to me. Listen to your punk-ass attorney that your dumbass is paying $25,000 for so they don't do depositions. They don't go to court and fight. I just talked to a guy today. He said that the attorney didn't even submit half the evidence for trial. The client said he didn't even know he had a trial. It was a different type of hearing. And the attorney got together and briefed him a few days before trial. I got other guys who are telling me they got hearings coming up. They have no clue what they are, and they're not even communicating with their attorney. It's your job to make sure your life with your kid is insured, that the agents that work for you are doing their job. If you own a business and you have an accountant and you have a team manager, and the people in the warehouse are running around and not stacking stuff and putting and sorting it out and not filling up truckloads of stuff for orders properly, if you were in charge, your punk-ass mentality would be like, I don't want to have a team meeting and tell people to do their job. I might hurt their feelings. You're paying them to do a job, you stupid, moronic, airheaded jackass. And you're sitting there saying you're afraid to tell an attorney who makes $400 an hour that you're afraid to tell your attorney you're afraid to light a fire under the attorney while your life with your kid is at stake, to tell him to do his job? You're afraid to go to court and tell a judge who makes 6 figures, who's probably a millionaire by now, who used to be an attorney and used to fight for his client's rights, and who went to law school and did mock trials and aggressively fought and got grilled by college professors. You're afraid to tell them what the law says and to tell them the truth? Then you're afraid to change the culture, and you're a punk-ass bitch, just like Dad talked today, the father's rights movement, the lead attorney, and every punk-ass bitch who's out there doing jack squat. Been talking to dads all year, and every time I tell, but I can't do this, but you'll talk all day long about the system. I can't believe it. These judges are so evil. These mother effers and this and that. Go to court and tell them that then. They don't have to call them mother effer in open court, but go to court and tell them what they did wrong. You're telling me all day long, and you're wasting 80% of your consult is whining, crying, pissing, and moaning and bitching, and you're not getting answers from me. You're such a stupid dumbass that all you want to do is talk. Like, I have to tell people, this is how much I care. I care more about your case and your finances than you do. I have to tell you, wait a minute, you're going way off in la-la land, off a tangent. Let's talk about what you need so that you can move forward. You guys don't even want to do that. Get your head together. Pull your head out of your ass, you dumbass, and start arguing and get on the offensive and be aggressive and fight for your kids and don't let anybody tell you no.